In October last year, I interviewed Stuart Burns. Stuart is the chairperson of Dyslexia Gibraltar. And in our chat, we discovered lots of things about dyslexia, but what we realized was that we were just scratching the surface. So we have decided to embark on a 6-part documentary, really, talking about dyslexia. Stuart, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I thought that it would be good to try and see it from different points of view. So we're looking at parents, teachers, children, people in the workplace, just to have a bigger understanding of dyslexia.
So why don't you join us on our journey as we ask ourselves, why dyslexia? Tired of the same corporate lunches? Try Fresca Catering. All their food is freshly made and delivered anywhere in Gibraltar. Croquettes and canapes, gluten-free platters and cakes, deluxe platters from just £20, and catering for vegans and vegetarians too. Download our brochure today at fresca.gi or visit us at the World Trade Centre. Go on, taste something new. Taste Fresca Catering. Hi, welcome to another episode of Why Dyslexia. Today we're at Monique's in Queensway Quay, and we're very excited to talk to some more business people. 3 people who are doing very different things in the world, who are all dyslexics and who have all made it to probably the top of their careers. I suppose Paul could still go a little further, but I think it's a real testament to how amazing it is to be dyslexic. And this is what we're talking about on these podcasts that we're doing. So I want to introduce Dominique Penalver.
Hello.
Who is a business owner and an entrepreneur. And I want to hear all about your journey to where you've got to today. We've also got David Parody, who is employed as a consultant to the Government of Gibraltar, but who's had various different jobs throughout his life, and hopefully we'll hear a little bit more. And we've got Detective Constable Paul Gache, who's also trained as a social worker and is now working for the RGP. And I think really 3 amazing people who are dyslexic, and I want to hear how it's been for you guys. And I also want you, I think everybody else will want to hear what your journey's been like, the good and the bad. And I know you've got a few things that you want to say which you've struggled with along the way.
I have.
First of all, we have to congratulate you on winning your Entrepreneur Award on the Women Who Rock the Rock.
Thank you very much.
Is that right?
Yes, Women That Rock, Female Entrepreneur of the Year.
That is amazing.
Thank you. Yes.
So, so tell me, Dominique, you own Monique's, but you've got other businesses as well.
I do.
When did you discover that you were dyslexic?
When I was 6, my mum went and took me to be tested because I had a special needs teacher called Mrs. Jones. And back then it wasn't really heard of, but she was very good at her job. And she identified it because I was, getting all my words the wrong way round, couldn't tie my shoelaces, couldn't hold a pen, still can't hold a pen properly, but they've all given up on trying to teach me that now. And I had this, the stereotypical dyslexic traits, and I was...
But your mum recognised that was a dyslexic trait?
Yeah, my mum did.
Okay, because a lot of mums didn't know what it was.
My mum, I still believe, is dyslexic, but she's never been tested. She does exactly what I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you guys have the same kind of thing happen to you?
Well,
when did you realise, David?
I found 24 years old.
Wow.
I was in the workplace. I remember Lourdes Sanguinetti. We used to work in the tax office, and we used to count the numbers down. One would say the numbers out loud, the other one would put it in the adding machine, and they always came out. They never balanced. We used to then swap round it again.
And where were you working?
Income tax office.
So it's a kind of job that really
requires some numeracy.
Yes.
But she noticed that every time it didn't add up, it was divisible by 9. She said, "So you're getting your numbers the wrong way around. You're dyslexic." That's the first time I actually heard the word dyslexic.
So you'd managed to get through school? Did you go to university?
No.
Right.
No. I got 8 O levels.
Well, that's good. That's amazing.
O levels.
Yeah.
One A level a year ahead of time in geometrical drawing. Mm-hmm. But I didn't do well in school. I didn't do well academically.
But did you know why? Did you think there was something wrong?
No, yeah, I thought I was stupid because I didn't academically perform.
Really?
And I found it very hard.
And nobody through school picked up on it?
No, in those days it wasn't a term that was even used. So I never read a book until I was 24. Wow. So once the word was mentioned, dyslexia, then I started finding out about it. And then I trained myself up. So I ended up with a master's at 44.
Amazing. But, I mean, you got there in the end. Did you?
But I don't think I needed it. But I just went through the process.
So why did you do a master? I mean, obviously from the tax office, you decided that you wanted something else, and you.
Well, yeah, I left the civil service, joined the Financial Services Commission, and through that role, different things came up.
And all along, were you helping yourself with your dyslexia?
Yes.
So this is why things started to change for you.
Completely.
You see?
It's once you know what it is, you can work with it.
Yeah.
So I don't see this as a disability.
Okay.
Because in my peers in school, my wife says I'm a bit big-headed, but I was cleverer than them, but I didn't perform academically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paul, would you say perhaps that having a label and being told you're dyslexic is a good thing or a bad thing?
Absolutely. I think there's a different perspectives about it. I mean, originally, the way you look at it is a learning difficulty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even go as far as calling it a disability. It's a difficulty that you have. But you've got to realize there's some people with dyslexia that have made some major advancements in their life. And there's certain things that dyslexic have that non-dyslexics have, you know, and we possess very specific certain skills. So although we struggle with some things, we're very, very good at other things. I've struggled all my life academically. However, my communication, my presentation skills are very good.
Yes.
And I can see obviously my two colleagues here nodding along. If you give us a piece of paper and write a story, we'll probably have some anxiety. But right now, I think all three of us, without any preparation, we're having a very articulate, intelligent conversation in a very confident manner. So, you know, these are one of the things that dyslexics can do. They're very good at presentation, at drama.
Actually, last night, I was put on the board for this Rock on the Rock thing. I was up on stage to talk, and one of the girls that was also talking, she had notes on a phone. Another one had, you know, cards to read from. And they said, what are you taking? I was like, me. I said, I'll just blag it. I was like, I can handle this. You chuck a question at me, I'll sort it out. But I was the only one that didn't prep. I said, I'm used to this. We just get in there and do it.
But do you think it's more to do with character?
No, I think we see things differently and we communicate completely differently. I do a lot of public speaking, a lot of training, a lot of presentations. There's no text in mine. It's all graphic. It's all based on very small words.
Do you do diagrams?
Diagrams,
that
images.
apparently is good.
That's
absolutely. I mean,
and how you communicate with people, not verbal but pictorially.
Yes.
More people understand what you're saying. It's not because you're speaking to a dyslexic audience. You're not. I just think it's a better communication method than putting up, say, a PowerPoint with tons and tons of text. It just doesn't work anyway.
Which people read from anyway when they do a presentation.
Has anyone ever asked any of you if you're dyslexic within your roles, within your jobs?
Not really. I think it was me that I would have disclosed that at some point, and mainly because, you know, when you're dyslexic and you go to certain pathways, where it's education, employment, you do need to disclose that. I think it is important to say, right, okay, I'm doing an exam, you need to give me that extra 15 minutes, you know, or whatever. So they do facilitate that. And when you need that support, you know, ask for it. There's no shame in asking for it. There's going to be the odd day as a dyslexic. You're going to have a bad day. You might not write as well you did before, the previous day.
But the technology's there now.
Precisely,
You just got to get the right word when you put it in there and you do the spell check. But I've got audio on my computer, so it reads it back to me.
Yeah.
Which is much easier for you to
because
get.
When the lines underneath the word comes up, you've got to know which one to click is the right one. So it actually speaks it now, so it's fine.
I mean, I developed my defense mechanism during school was having very untidy handwriting. So nobody could understand
what
I was writing, so that nobody could call me out on not getting the right words, the right spelling on it. I've got atrocious handwriting.
Still?
I can't read my own handwriting.
The same with me. The same.
Really?
My handwriting is
worse than a doctor.
And you've got to associate something with the handwriting as well. But the handwriting is not just because of the dyslexia, but most dyslexics, we do suffer from anxiety. That's a reality of our lives. You know, we worry because we can see by comparison somebody else will have meticulous, perfect writing, and you know you're never going to reach that threshold.
Yeah.
So for us, it's always about getting that strategy, saying, okay, it's untidy, but how can I make it the best for me? I have untidy handwriting all the time. So
you're always working and thinking that little bit more, that little bit harder when you're doing something.
If I'm taking notes, I'm normally doodling next to my writing. Because I can understand my doodles better than I can do my writing. And that's my trigger, my memory.
Okay.
And most of the times when you write something, I'd write something in the morning about a meeting I've had. By the time I come back in the evening, I'm like, what the hell did I write?
Yeah.
So that's why I record conversations, and I say to people, do you mind if I record the conversation? Or I make little bullet points, or I just make Morrison's, and I know, all right, can we go back to my head what I was talking about, that's what that's about. But yeah.
Do you think the business community in general could be more dyslexia friendly? I mean, in situations that you've come across within...
Not really.
No?
I mean, as Dominique said, technology now helps.
Yeah.
My godsend has been the word processor.
Have you tried the AI app?
Oh, yeah.
That's brilliant.
I'm totally into GPT and everything else, because
brilliant.
now for reading, that's my other sort of big hurdle. My work entails a lot of reading of very sort of technical documents.
Yeah.
I can now throw this at ChatGPT and I can get a summary without having to plow through the detail, because I would miss details. But I can ask GPT, give me a summary of what the main points are. And I can get this in 2 pages now, over a 200-page document.
Wow.
And just going on from reading is hard for dyslexic. It takes longer for
Yes.
us to read. Now,
Because of the
I-
letters and all
well,
that.
there's a lot of factors, but for me, I mean, the Kindle has been revolutionary
Yeah.
for me. Why? Because the Kindle has got a very specific font for dyslexic people, and I can enlarge the font.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's there.
Really? I
I
So
got
when
it on my
I,
iPhone.
It doesn't work for
Really?
me, but
so
Now,
when I've
does
got
it
my
work
Kindle,
for everybody or
Well,
just for dyslexics?
it works for me. I know other dyslexics that's working very well for them. But now, and I say this, when you get a book, you don't have the ordeal of opening a book. You can just sit with the Kindle, you can flick with your finger, and you can swift through the pages and actually enjoy reading.
Yeah.
Which is helping. Everybody needs to read. We need to learn. We need to progress and all the rest of it. But it's done in a much more easier, friendly
Incredible. I
way.
didn't
you
know any
change
of
the
that.
spacing, you change the line spacing, the letter spacing.
Lighting, whatever.
So what is special about being dyslexic? The most special thing?
I mean, I think we're very unique individuals, and I think from my experience, and I can tell you, I don't know how Dominique and David feel, but we do suffer, like I said previously, anxiety, and we do suffer. We have suffered a lot, and we do suffer on a daily basis. But one thing that dyslexics do have is empathy, and empathy is a very, very key thing. A lot, because when you feel empathy, you can really relate to other people. You can work with victims. You can help others. And I don't know them that well, but I know at some point in their life they've really gone out of their ways to help others, because we do suffer. We have suffered from a very young age. We have, because as a dyslexic, you're actually quite isolated in a classroom with peers, because by comparison there's that slight difference.
That is like the worst time, no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For you. And your school was the worst.
couldn't
for
get
you
out.
guys.
For me, it was worse,
hard.
especially not knowing it. If you were diagnosed as a 6, that's a godsend. That
Yes.
really is a godsend, because
Yeah.
It was
you
good
can deal
sense,
with
but
it.
I grew up in Devon, in Torrington, and it was a small village. So I was like the only dyslexic in the village, So even though I was diagnosed, no one knew what to do with me. So they were literally like, well, what do we do with her? Do we put her with people that's got Down syndrome? Or they did not know what to do with me. But because I was a bubbly character back then, I was very good at drama, brilliant at sports. I was the captain of all the teams, I was drama, I was brilliant. Anything that wasn't academic, I would
You were
be
good
the
at.
best at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the best. And I think with dyslexia, you're saying that the power, I can read people a lot better than anyone.
Yeah.
I know when someone's going to turn. I know who's a Karen as soon as they walk through that door. I can read people's body
So it's
language.
good. You're in a good job where you're employing people. You can.
But that's why I wanted to get into customs. So I thought I'll add them up.
Well, this is something I want to talk about,
But they
because
don't
I know
want
it's your little gripe.
Oh, it annoys the hell out of
That
me.
have mentioned it already in one of our podcasts, but we'll bring it up again. So you need 5 GCSEs to get a job in government,
I've
in
got
customs, not in
GCSEs, yeah.
for the police as well. I don't know.
I didn't want to be in the police because my husband's in the police and I don't want to work with him.
Okay. But yeah, you have to have English and maths, and not all dyslexics have English and maths GCSE, which means you're put at a disadvantage when really you could do the job perfectly
I
well.
got a D.
So what do you
I don't
think?
have maths.
So what can be done
I got
about
an
it?
F,
I never
I got a D,
maths.
I got four GCSEs, and later on in my education, because I knew I struggled with A levels and exams, I did a GMBQ, which is more coursework based, and then later on I got a degree. I got a third, but I'm proud of my third.
Well, but you got
Yeah,
there.
I got
You
it.
got
I got
there.
it. I got it. At the
You
end
got
of the day.
there.
I got a degree.
But yeah,
And part of it's finance in my degree. I've got GMBQs.
yeah, GMBQ's the same.
I
for me.
did my GCSEs. I had I've got a D in maths. That's why I wasn't allowed in.
Yep. Same for me.
I got a D, so they said, no, you can't come in. So I was like, well, I'll
when
just go and open loads of businesses then.
So you did, but you got a degree.
I've got a degree, yeah.
And
I've got GCSEs, GMBQs, which I did up at Bleak House in tourism. I went to catering college and got a HND, and then I went and got a degree in Bournemouth University, which is accounts, basically, financial business accounts.
Yeah.
I came over here, I opened up lots of successful restaurants for someone else.
How long have you been, opening restaurants? How long ago?
I worked for the Hunters for 14 years.
Okay.
And I opened up O'Reilly's, Bridge Bar, Bistro Point, Jury's, Jib Arms, Star Bar, Britannia Bar, you name it, I did the lot. You know, and at the end of it, I was just like, do you know what? I'm done with hospitality. But I want to do customs. I thought, yeah, I could be at the board. I could spot a few druggy people coming through. I have a great time. You know, so I went and handed in the paperwork, and they
You make
said,
it sound very glamorous, Dominique.
I thought it would be good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's something different.
Yeah. And then what happened?
um,
You couldn't.
They wouldn't accept my paperwork.
Because
I said, yeah, but I got a degree. I said, it's irrelevant. You need to have the English and maths.
Really?
Yeah, irrelevant. They wouldn't let me, and they said to me, if you for those qualifications, as in my GCSEs, you can apply for being a prison officer. That's what they said to me. It's like, well, it's not what I want to do. If I wanted to apply for that, I would apply for that.
So have you done anything about it? Have you spoken to anyone in government or anyone in authority who
Well, what
maybe?
my plan is, obviously, I'm not going to be in the hospitality trade. I want to move on in about 10 years. Then I'm going to be a minister. If they won't change it before then, I'm going in.
You're going to change it yourself.
And Michelle, just going on about what Dominique's saying, there is a concept called dyslexic thinking. Dyslexics think and the thought process is in a certain way.
Yeah.
So what does that encompass? Leadership, creativity,
Yeah.
looking at things from different angles.
Yeah.
So Dominique, equally to me, like I've just found, we don't have maths, but look at what she's
Exactly.
succeeded.
Yeah.
Look at her ambition.
Yeah.
Look at the strength of her leadership
Yeah.
that she's done in our community. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, an examination degree is nothing comparable to somebody what she's
I'm
achieved.
saying the government should look at a person, not the paper. How many dyslexic children
Absolutely.
or people are they turning away, which would,
Yes.
be brilliant
Yeah.
for these people in these, like the police and customs. They turn away a lot of opportunity there.
Because dyslexics have this sort of, as Paul was saying, strategic thinking, leadership thinking,
Creativity.
ability to work through problems that
Yeah.
most people can't see.
Yeah.
Yet we're able to look at something and say, okay, there's another way around this.
Yeah. So would you say you've reached your goals? Set,
Well,
targets that you
apart
set.
from being a millionaire, but
We keep finding that
But we still, you still have time. You
I'm
still
still
have
playing the
time.
lottery. I think I've still got a bit of mileage left in me. I might be an old dog,
But have you reached goals that you've set yourself up to now?
I've never set myself goals. I've always lived
Okay.
day by day.
Okay.
But people say, "Oh, you've been very lucky. You done very well without any GCSEs." No, it's been a hard slog. I think I've worked hard all my life.
Yeah.
Probably harder than most people because
I think we do work harder.
we
have
work
to work
harder.
harder. Yeah, work harder.
So people, oh, you've got to. Yeah, okay, but I worked there. Nobody
Yeah.
gifted
Yeah.
me my job titles.
Yeah.
I've worked for them all. I'm
Yeah.
proud of what
Makes
I've
you
done.
proud. What about you, Paul?
For me, I think it's the same goes everybody, and I think you're always chasing your better self, and I think that works with everybody. And for dyslexics, I think there's a resilience and there's a
Okay.
determination that they all have, and
That maybe other people don't have.
that they will push and they will push because yeah, we do struggle, but they said I'm going to go a bit further and I'm going to do this and I'm going to get a bit further. I mean, look at some dyslexics in the world like Richard Branson that
Yeah.
achieved anything. I mean, he was never academic, but his skill to delegate and to communicate and to present as a leader has reshaped the world in terms of his businesses and what he's achieved. There's many people that have done that. Of course it's hard, of course it's difficult. Even like actors like Whoopi Goldberg, they literally have to
She's
rewrite.
dyslexic too.
They have to write all their scripts word by word to remember it.
Yeah.
And I remember when I did my exams, when I joined the police and I had to learn certain fences, I spent all day writing again, word by word, what each
Muscle memory.
you know, and I can't
Was the
remember.
only way-
I can't remember word by word now. But if you wanted me to stand up and give you a presentation, absolutely, I could do it. You know, and it'd be far more interesting. So
Yeah.
So-
how do you support other dyslexics that work with you that are in your environment at work or at home or
All right.
have you had other dyslexics
Yes,
that work
I mean, one of my interviews for a new employee, so Bethan, who joined me, so first thing, I'm dyslexic, I need my mind map.
So she immediately told you she's dyslexic.
Yes, because she was going to bring out a mind map at the interview, which is unusual.
Okay. Now, what did you? Well, you're dyslexic, so you would have thought that's great.
At that point, I knew I was going to employ her.
Right. Interesting.
Because if she can think in mind maps,
Yes.
and
Yes,
plan
because you
out
understand it.
everything she wanted to cover in the interview was in a mind map.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's the skill set that I need.
Yes.
It doesn't work for some people because some people will see a mind map and say, this one's crazy.
No,
But,
yeah.
but
what
I
was
could
gonna-
recognize that and say, I
I get
totally
it. I
with you.
understand it. I'm with you.
Well, you employ people too. I mean, Paul doesn't in his job, but you do as well. So
I've not
the
employed
same.
one yet.
You haven't?
No.
But nobody who's admitted being dyslexic.
Though they would quite honestly tell me because I can't spell. They all know I can't spell, but I hire someone to do all my writing for me. So
So do you think people
why I
might
tell them.
hide it?
it's not something you just bring up in a conversation. It's
Well, it depends on how you see it.
yeah,
If you see it as an ability or a disability.
Yeah.
LinkedIn see it as a skill,
Yes, it is a skill.
and you can choose it as a skill,
It is a skill. I think it's a
which I think is terrific.
and sort of this sort of programs and podcasts help bring that to
Yeah.
the fore. It is
Well,
a
that is
skill.
that's why exactly why we're doing it.
Yeah, and for each person, it's almost like a muscle. So you've got to train it because once you build your own strategies on how to better yourself or to cope with a particular task, you do it again and you do it again. So you become much more functional and much more motivated to do it. But it's something you got to keep going at it. So as a dyslexic, I always say to people, remove the stigma.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Of course, the three of us have all been referred to as stupid as once.
Yeah.
And I can only tell you,
I was dumb dumb. That's what they used to call me, dumb dumb.
Precisely. And I know she's smiling, but there would have been a point that it does cause a level of hurt.
Yeah.
It does really, really, really hurt, like it would do with any other person with a difficulty or disability or from a marginalized group,
course.
you know? So, and then you've got to deal with that and you've got to pick yourself up and you've got to move forward, you know?
Yeah.
Because that person that would have called you stupid can do things a lot faster than you can do. You know what I mean?
But not
So-
necessarily better.
Not necessarily better.
You can have the smartest people, but they got no common sense.
Yeah. Oh, I see that
so
too
many
often.
people
Do you see that? Do you see that?
Oh God, yeah.
They've got all the
Yeah.
qualifications in the world, but they got no common sense whatsoever. I mean, that is a disability in itself. But then they get the jobs in customs.
Oh, that's a good one. So talking about customs, what do you think the government could do, in your opinion, to improve life for dyslexics in general?
I think they need to get away from the computer says no attitude and look at the person, not just the paperwork. Because GCSE maths just says you've accomplished something. But I had a degree, a H&D, so I have worked towards that. I have dedicated myself to that.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, who remembers anything from GCSE maths? I've never done algebra or the triangles or anything like that. I mean, you're just looking at grams, adding, you know, it's not needed. They need to move on a bit now.
I think one thing, Michelle, as well, is a good idea is why don't you just develop for the civil service some dyslexia workshops where you've got dyslexic people, you know, actually saying, well, this is how we do it. What are you struggling with? How can you do it for yourself, you know? And really share that message to them. And then that will cause a lot of motivation and empowerment because you'll say, oh, well, okay, well, you've done it this way, I do it this way. And it's about sharing information.
and maybe making other people aware of what it's
Precisely.
like for a person who is dyslexic. No, because I, for example, before I started this podcast, didn't have a clue what it meant to be dyslexic.
How many champions do we have on different things? We've got all sorts of champions. We've got welfare workshops. Do one for dyslexics as well. And for the people that are struggling that don't know, give them that opportunity to get the
I
diagnosis
think they'd
and
be
point them in the
quite
right direction.
surprised if they got, like, in one of these training things that they do when they're looking for applicants, put some dyslexics in there. And I think the people that are watching, at the moment, they can't get through to that stage. Put them in there and see what they do. And I think they'll be surprised. Because at the moment, I couldn't even get through the first door. They let me through that first door. I would have gone all the way.
Because it's like a hidden disability. No, it's not somebody who's got a physical disability. It's not something you
Well, it's not.
see.
It's not a disability.
No, but it requires
Yeah.
acknowledging.
Yes. What you mean? Some people would see it as a
We see
disability.
it as a disability.
Yeah.
So
So
we
this is
have
what we're trying to break
disability
down.
workshops and everything. This is not a disability. It just needs to be looked at differently.
Do you think the educational system should start with young children, and change a few things about the way things go in school? Because
My child's in school, he's dyslexic. And I tell you what, they're a lot more on it now than they were ever on it when my kids, when I was there. And my son's getting a lot of help, so I can't criticise my son's in St. Joseph's School. They've been every step of the way. And I've been there because I'm dyslexic. I'm telling him, he's doing this, he's getting out of class because he doesn't understand what you're going on about. They're saying, oh, he's going to the toilet like 5 times in a lesson. I said, because he doesn't understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
So and they're saying, oh, we'll put a teacher with him on these lessons. I said, he doesn't need it on those lessons, he just needs it on English and maths. That's it. And then we got him the coloured glasses.
I know Paul sports his coloured glasses.
I brought
What
my
do they
coloured
do?
glasses, so I'm just going to demonstrate where them.
Demonstrate away.
This is
Very
this is-
smooth.
This is what I wear, and I do get certain comments about it. But,
At work.
for me, it's been a revelation. For me, it's probably the best investment I've made in my dyslexic journey. And pretty much what happens with reading a dyslexic, the white page does affect you a lot. Now, people that do struggle a lot with dyslexia, they even find the words moving, buzzing, and in the more severe cases, you have words actually dripping down and falling off the page. Now, I'm not an optician or anything, but the theory behind it is that the color settles the word very well on the page.
True.
You know, it
Okay.
takes away the white away, so it takes away the stress, it takes the eye pressure away, and they just simply work. I don't
Wow.
know. You go to your test, some colors work for other people.
Mine's
Green
yellow.
works for, yours yellow. Green works for me perfectly. So I pop the ROM at the computer, and I work all day like this, and it's perfect. It works.
Do you have that?
No, I just use, I invert my screens. They're all white text on black. It's much
Okay.
easier.
Yeah.
White text on black.
Yeah. So they're all dark
Really
themed. But my
interesting.
phone's dark themed.
My phone's dark.
Everything is dark themed because it helps me.
And when I was at school, the glasses weren't a thing then. I actually had an laminated, like see-through yellow sheet.
Yeah.
And I can still remember it. I went to my dyslexic person, and they had all the different colours and said, right, what stops moving? I was like, yellow. And she goes, yeah, that's your one. And then she gave me a sheet, and that's what I got my son, because my son was sat at the back, and the teacher was like, no, he needs to sit at the front because, he's talking and distracting all the other kids. And I said, he wasn't distracting the kids. He was asking them, what's it saying? Because they were moving around, and it was on a whiteboard. And that's when they sorted out the glasses for him, and he's not had a problem since.
So what are the best, tricks and tips you could give somebody watching this if they are dyslexic? Apart from the glasses
I think that
and the change of screen
I think
color?
that the best investment you can do, and I would advise this for everyone, even as an adult, I did get a psychological evaluation of my dyslexia that really, for each dyslexic is different. They're going to be
Can you
better
get
things
that
than
here just by asking for it?
Yeah, the
Somewhere?
dyslexics. I did it for the
Association.
dyslexia support group, and they were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Okay.
They brought over the psychology they have, and I paid it. It was worth every penny.
It's £300, I think it was.
But the good thing about it is that you actually get a report, a very specialized document, specialized to you, which is for you, which for you could then use that as evidence for when you go to an employer, and you can say, well, yeah, it's very easy for me to say I'm diagnosed, but you need that actual report stating that. You can't just go around and say, well, I'm diagnosed dyslexic. Well, that's very well, but when you actually go to an employer or when you need extra time in an examination, it's so good to have that evidence with you. Like any other diagnosis with any other psychological or
That's what I did for my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the schooling system, they did it, and he said he's borderline, and I said he's not borderline. I know he's not borderline. He needs assistance, so I went to the Dyslexia Society and said I want him tested, and they said there's a fee, don't care.
Yeah.
Let's get him tested, and we got it tested, and they said it's severe dyslexia.
Yeah.
I know.
What does borderline mean anyway?
Yeah.
Borderline with
Borderline.
what?
Borderline mean? What does borderline mean?
Yeah.
Have you been inspired by any dyslexics in your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just Richard Branson for
Yeah.
me is
It
obviously
puts a smile on
the
my
main
face.
one. Yeah.
When I hear someone's dyslexic and they've done that, I'm like, good on you, because I know the struggle they've gone through.
He was Michael Heseltine.
Really?
Michael Heseltine employed somebody to read all his cabinet documents. He's deputy prime minister. And to have somebody in cabinet who's totally dyslexic, who have no ability to read everything, and yet look where he got. He's still an extremely bright man. And sort of inspires. Yeah, well, if they can do it.
Interesting. I
can do
didn't
it.
know that.
I think the main thing that intelligence has got nothing to do with dyslexia. So Lexia's language, and this is dysfunctionality. So it's a dysfunctionality about processing information, and that's the problem that we have. It's about getting that information. Whether it's, sometimes we do have auditory problems as well. Listening, we miss things there. Reading,
Remembering names.
Remembering, memory, things like
Everyone's honey to me.
that. But when it comes to intelligence,
Yeah.
Do you
and things get too confused.
One part, my brain does actually hurt after I've done a long day looking at things. I actually do get a pain and I have to take a Panadol.
Really?
Yeah, I get like a thumping right here.
Do you think more people should talk about dyslexia? Do you think there should be more programs, more things going on in GIB to raise awareness and to...
I got very annoyed recently. I came across a mother who's, oh, yeah, well, my child's not doing very well in this school. I'm going to move them to school because I'm not going to mention any schools, but I know Joseph does an extremely good job. My girls are there. But no, because they don't pay any attention. He doesn't do well. He's not performing well. He's dyslexic. And he was using that as an excuse.
An excuse, yes.
An excuse instead of
like a label.
maximizing.
But a label in a bad way, no?
Yes, a label in a bad way, as opposed to
as
wow,
opposed
he's dyslexic.
to wow,
he could do really good things.
Which
was my reaction. I said, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take this from you. To me, having dyslexia is a benefit.
Yes.
Make the most of it.
Yes, it's like a superpower, no?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Well,
I'm looking up Paul.
look, at the end of the day, for each person, it gives you a sense of confidence, and I'm realizing the skills and potential I do have to move forward. So I do embrace in a positive way.
So, I don't know if you realize we've been talking for half an hour already.
Okay.
I want to round up. Last question. What is the best advice that you have been given as a dyslexic, and what is the best advice that you could give a dyslexic?
Well, I don't think I've ever been given advice, but
No
my
one's ever
advice
said-
to anybody is embrace it. Like I said, I didn't read a book, a fiction book, till I was 24, once I knew I was dyslexic. And now I gobble up books like everything else because I've trained myself, I've worked myself through it, I've built up that skill set. I do that on a work basis every day. Take it to its limit. Use technology. Use whatever you can. But
And make the most of it.
make the most.
Being dyslexic, no?
Because the other skills, you may have trouble reading or numbers or whatever it is, but your other skills are so much more important.
Yeah.
They can contribute so much to society.
Yeah.
I think the best advice I was given back in the school days when they said, yes, you're going to struggle. Yes, you're going to have bad days, but there's no reason why you can't pass. And pass in terms of exams. I mean, for me, I use the philosophy as a football game. I like watching football, and I like watching Barcelona. That's my team. I don't care if they win 10-0 or 1-0. I just want them to win. So if you marginally get over the line, doesn't matter. But just do it. Do your best to get over the line, and then keep pushing forward like that. Yeah, somebody else will maybe be further along from you, but you get where you need to get to for your potential and for your threshold.
Okay.
Just think, once you've decided what you want to do, you might not take the same road everyone else does. Find the detour. Dyslexic people always find a way. It doesn't have to be the same way as everyone else. I always find my own way, and everyone goes, "Why have you done it that way? Why not?" So just find your own way, but you can do it. And you've got technology now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anyone knows, but like when I went to a restaurant, I used to always read the menu before I went to a restaurant at home. Because I was embarrassed to be sat in front of everyone, you're like going, what does that say? So now in all my restaurants, I've got an audio menu, so people can press a button and listen to the menu online. Yeah, so people, for dyslexic people, and
That's
a lot of
I've
people
never
use
ever
that.
heard that.
I did it for dyslexic people. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Well, thank
find
you
your
all.
way.
Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you very
stories
much.
with
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah.
And we'll be back again with another episode of Why Dyslexia. Thank you very much for watching.
1 in 5 people are dyslexic. Do you think you might be dyslexic? Please get in touch with us at Dyslexia Gibraltar and scan the QR code to follow us on all our social media platforms. Please watch, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel Dyslexia Gibraltar.